About a month ago, I did a video about the seriously flawed study by University of Texas professor Mark Regnerus that suggested that gays make worse parents. Quoting from the Huffington Post article, the study defined same-sex parenting by asking participants if their parents had ever had same-sex relationships and whether they had lived with the parent at that time. That led to a hodgepodge group of people who Regnerus then compared with kids in stable, married homes, said Judah Stacy, a sociologist at New York University who was not involved in the research. And there will be a link below, of course, to this article. Now, this is a far cry from comparing two equivalent groups, such as children raised in a stable homosexual relationship with children raised in a stable heterosexual relationship. Regnerus' list of homosexual parents could have included people having a single homosexual affair or someone having numerous affairs, yet his heterosexual parents were in a long-term marriage. This is hardly a worthwhile comparison, and most definitely not a serious scientific study. Now, I knew when I made that video that right-wing groups would use it against gay marriage, and it's happened. The study has been cited in a brief supporting the Defense of Marriage Act, the day after the study was released. One can't help but wonder if the American College of Pediatricians, who cited it in a friend of the court brief, hadn't had foreknowledge of this study. Now, the American College of Pediatricians is a fairly new group founded in 2002, mostly to oppose gay parenting, and it allegedly only has a few hundred members. It is not to be confused with a legitimate group, the American Academy of Pediatrics. Now, I've also discovered that the Regnerus study the funding was arranged by Robert George. This is from the Civil Rights Movement website. National Organization for Marriage co-founder Robert P. George arranged for $785,000 of funding for a study that was supposed to be an election year anti-gay parent bloodbath. The money came from the Witherspoon Institute, where George is a senior fellow, and the Bradley Foundation, where he is a board member. The Bradley Foundation is notorious, incidentally, for funding extremist anti-Muslim bigots. Mark Regnerus, a known anti-gay theocrat and a sociologist at the University of Texas, Austin, carried out George's dirty anti-gay smear assignment. Regnerus' bio on the Christian Trinity College site finds him saying that his faith, which in this case must be read as his anti-gay bigotry, informs his research. Regnerus purported to survey children raised by gay parents through the 1990s. A fundamental lie in all of his propagandizing was that actual same-sex-headed families were too hard to find, so he had to settle for broken heterosexual homes in which one parent turned out to be gay. The link, as usual, will be below. So this is looking like a pre-planned election year setup, and it turns out there may be another paper that is part of this, namely a study by Lauren Marks, a Louisiana State University associate professor. Now, it should be noted here that according to the New Civil Rights website, Marks earlier was disallowed from giving testimony in a Proposition 8 related case when, under questioning, he admitted he had cherry-picked information from studies he had not read and that he knew nothing about same-sex couples. From the American Foundation for Equal Rights website, Marks admitted that he only read parts of the studies he relied upon in making his conclusion. It was then pointed out that those studies actually defined biological parents in a way that included adoptive parents, not just genetic parents. Marks then stated that the word biological should be deleted from the report he prepared for this case, and also admitted he considered no research on gay and lesbian parents, effectively revealing his research as fatally flawed. And yet, Marks dares to criticize the American Psychological Association's brief on lesbian and gay parenting, largely based on the research of one individual. Now, I'm not really qualified to analyze his critique, since social science is not my bailiwick, but I encourage you to read the links below for more information. Well, now it turns out that the Regnerus study is under investigation. Regnerus himself is under investigation by the University of Texas for alleged professional misconduct. Now, this is due to Scott Rose, a journalist for the New Civil Rights Movement, who wrote an open letter to the university on the New Civil Rights Movement website. Quoting from the Daily Texan, In his letter, Rose said Regnerus' study violates UT's academic dishonesty policy because he accepted money from politically active groups and purposefully hid flawed data collection methods in his study. Rose also stated Regnerus acted in bad faith as a member of the scientific community and questioned whether or not Regnerus engaged in improper relationships with the groups funding the study. And again, the link for the Daily Texan article will be below. Now, so far this investigation is only in the inquiry stages, but I hope that the University of Texas takes this seriously and does a thorough investigation. It wouldn't hurt to publicize this and make as many people as possible aware of this situation. That way there's a less chance that the university can sweep this under the rug. Now, Rose says he wants to involve the Congressional LGBT Equality Caucus to look at who is providing funding to the University of Texas. Now, I have included a link below to the website for the LGBT Congressional Caucus, and I would like to suggest that everyone send them a message relating your concern over this matter. I don't care if you're not in the United States, since whatever happens in this country has an impact on the rest of the world, and if you're not a U.S. citizen, you might mention that to them. I know that a lot of people outside the U.S. have friends and family here who are affected by this nonsense. Anyway, thanks for watching, and keep vigilant.